Season 2, Episode 3? Yes. Today's video is brought to you by GameGlass. With GameGlass you can take control of your ship using a tablet or a phone. You can try it out using some of the free pre-made shots, or you can also make your own custom shots and share them with the community through the built-in marketplace. So gone are the days where you have no more rooms for all your key bindings. On top of that, GameGlass also supports Star Citizen, so follow the link in the video description and try GameGlass for free, and use offer code DTEA to get 5% off any purchase. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cockpit Reviews. Before we dive into this episode's 3 different cockpits, I just want to remind you guys that if you want your own home cockpit reviewed on one of these videos, then do send me some pictures, maybe a little bit of a short description of what kind of equipment you use, what kind of games you play, those kind of things, and send them to me at downtoearthastronomy@gmail.com. That's in the description as well. We're going to start this week off with a extreme DIY setup, and there's some interesting things with this. This is not just, buy all the most expensive equipment. It's a little bit more, well, finessed than that. Okay, just to give us an idea, I'm just gonna play one of the videos that he have on his channel where we can see. I'm just gonna pause it here. Hold on. Oh, you actually have, that's nice. Hold on. You have a nice overlay here. So first things that I noticed is that he's obviously have an IR tracker sitting here on his headset. We can see that it's quite dark, but we can see it here. We can see he has a keyboard in the front, and it looks like he has some kind of like what I would call the oversized control panel. You can see it's underlit there, so it looks like it's just standing on his desk. The joystick he's using is the X52, actually right, it's just X52 Pro. We can see that, of course, with a very distinct display there. You can't necessarily see that. I think, does the Norton Pro version have a display? I don't think it does. But you see he has a head tracker. There's a number of different displays all around here showing various information about the status of the ship, and then a more traditional control panel up here at the front, and then he's running what looks like 3 different displays for a very wide field of view. That is a pretty cool DIY setup, but there's actually more to it. I guess you may wonder, apart from all the electronics and how all these buttons are wired up, now I'm not even gonna begin to try and understand how that works, because I don't know electronics like that. There is something cool I want to show you, because there's a shot here later in the video where we get a closer look at that control panel there, because that's the one I think is interesting. And there we go, perfect timing. There we can see it. If we're just gonna pause this here. Oh, bad timing. There we go. Look at the edges down to the monitors. That's cardboard. I like that. He built this thing out of cardboard. So I think what he's done is he basically have a monitor sitting underneath it, and then he just cut out of the cardboard where he's gonna have the different panels. I could probably find on this page how exactly he made those panels to showcase the different things in his ship. Obviously it won't be touch enabled unless the screen below is touch enabled. But it's still a super cool idea. I love this super DIY approach to it, and that it doesn't have to be, I have a big CNC thing and I have this machine's aluminum frame that I build, or something that I think for a lot of people is going to be a little bit out of reach. Like a monitor underneath a cardboard box will get you very far, as you can see here. Obviously there's a lot more going on, as we saw on his homepage, like some custom electronics. I'm actually just gonna continue to play the video so you can see the whole thing in action here. Lots of custom stuff underneath, where you, I don't know how difficult that is to learn, but I'm sure if you go and looks like it's very well documented. I'll be sure to post a link for the page in the description below. It actually shows you how the different panels, what they look like in different locations. I think it's super cool, and seeing that you can do something that is relatively, what looks super awesome and is relatively complicated without using expensive materials, I think is super cool, and love to see more of these DIY home cockpits that doesn't necessarily just have to buy a lot of expensive off-the-shelf products, but it's a little bit more custom. The next one here comes to us from Jansen, is his nickname. This is an exercise in extreme multi-purpose when it comes to what's actually a relatively simple home cockpit. The 3.1 version, and all the 3.0 versions, is the one that he used now. This is what is called the chill out setup. which has that is a Constellation Alpha on a Warbird base, and that is a Thrustmaster throttle on the other side. So he has a basic IKEA chair, like the one he has here. Stream Deck, mouse, just list all these components down here so you can go and replicate it. Oh, there's a co-pilot. Hello, co-pilot. So that's what he's called, his chill setup. You have the mouse over there on some kind of like chest. You have a half of a keyboard over here so you can go and play some chill games if you want to. And then it looks like you have a full-size keyboard if you need to go and type in stuff. And then probably the Stream Deck for just managing control. But it looks like the standard, like the basic flight equipment is here, even in the 0.1 version of it. Now, if we move over to the 3.2 versions, now we are in tractor mode, it seems. So now we have a steering wheel at the front. We have I think a gear shift lever. For some reason, he leaves the joystick in. I don't know if that's difficult to remove, because that panel seems to be difficult to access in this configuration. Let's see how this differs from car mode. Okay, they're very similar, but instead of having that control panel out there, he now has a gear knob there, and he had a phone that was added up here as well. So slight difference. Looks like in tractor mode he's going to need more buttons that he doesn't necessarily need in racing mode. So he swapped that out for manual gear shift. But that looks like that's car mode. Now we also have race car mode, which is the same, but he removed the gear shift. But he does also change the steering wheel, I think. Yeah, the steering wheel is being swapped out for more race-style steering wheel. It looks like it's the same thing where he just swaps the steering wheel out itself. That's pretty neat. We move over to helicopters, so I'm expecting... Yeah, we have pedals, we have that center-mounted stick that you always have when you fly helicopters, and now all the helicopter pilots out there is going to absolutely kill me. He has this, which is called something that I cannot remember, and I'm sure someone in the... Like, I think is it a Virtual thing? I think it is. I'm not sure if that's a Virtual thing or not. Usually when you fly helicopters, you will have a center-mounted stick, and then you have that like lift axis at the side that you basically use to, I think, lift so you go up and down. And then you have the yaw left and right here, and then the rest you control with the center yoke there. A lot of the like space sim gear stays in position. It seems like the throttle and the joystick stays in position. Oh, here we can see that's the center-mounted stick. We can see that how that's just have these like C clamps. It just clamps it in, so that's just mounted directly to like a wooden like block, and then that whole wooden block just clamped into the chair when he needs to use that. So for the spaceship setup, obviously he keeps the joystick, he keeps the throttle. Now what we see here is he's adding a tablet for GameGlass. So now he needs GameGlass because that interfaces really, really well with a lot of the spaceship games. Like in this case, he's playing Star Citizen. We can see that from the power triangle there. Now, GameGlass has a couple months back actually, they added support that you can make your own custom dashboards or custom like shards here. So that's means there's nothing preventing him from making a shard for every single setup so that it has all the buttons he needs. That could cut down on a lot of the different panels. Though I can see the appeal of having a more physical button, since it's more fun to press a physical button that says click. I'm not familiar with those control panels, but it looks like, again, when we are playing spaceships, we need a ton of control panels, so he decided just to put them out there on the side of the chair. And again, he has lots of pictures about how these things are mounted and stuff like that. Oh my god! Okay, things just went to a whole nother level. So let's try to pull this. Okay, the joystick is removed now. We can see he just attaches it from the base. That's one of the really nice benefits. It is so easy to remove. Now he has what looks like two MFDs up here. He has a yoke in the middle, proper flight yoke, a numpad. I wonder what that is for. Maybe typing in numbers for like setting autopilot. We can see here he has now a joystick there that can swivel around, so you control it with that if you want to. The GameGlass tablet is gone. He keeps his Stream Deck. I'm assuming the Stream Deck is not really being used to control the game, but more used to control the computer that he's playing with, like launching games, those kind of things. Now, we often see these extreme, like over-the-top setups, but I want to include some also really, really budget setups in these cockpit reviews, because it doesn't have to always be these over-the-top, just throw enough money on it at the wall kind of approach. But I want to see these like lower-end cockpits as well, because I love to see these where people have to make do with what they can get their hands on, even if you are on a tight budget. And that's one of the things that we have here. This is from Commander T.S. Highland Ur. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Let's just try to identify that he listed all the things that he had. He has a recycled laptop. As it's barely able to run Horizon. So I hope I should still be able to play in Horizon 3.8. Probably not in 4.0. But recycled laptop. He had a recycled HD TV, so it's not even full HD. It's 720p monitor from in the center there. Also a recycled Fujitsu monitor. That's the one out there, I would guess. So he has a secondary monitor. That's also a recycled. Cheap microphone and stand. Then he says he has a used wireless keyboard. That's what we got in there. And a used wireless mouse as well. And then we got he got that for free even. Nice. Thrustmaster Airbus. That's the joystick we see here. It's one of those combo things where the throttle is actually the scroll wheel we can just see here. I think at least that's what it's going to use. Maybe he's used the keyboard, but I think they intended that scroll wheel to kind of be like a throttle, so you can sit with it, and you can sit and scroll up and down with that if you want to, if you want that. But I think personally, especially since the way he has a position kind of off to the side, I would probably be using the keyboard for controlling my throttle, and just using the joystick for my, it probably doesn't have twist, so I would probably use it for my pitch and my roll. And then do my my yaw again on keyboard, and then just have like deploy weapons and fire groups and like the most common things attached to the joystick as well. And then he has an old opened hobby computer, so that's the one over here. Again, that's like an older recycled thing. Okay, and that's the one that attaches to the monitor over here. So what he does is, because he's running on very limited hardware, is that he just got a second recycled computer. And then that's plugged into the second monitor, and that was he's using for running Discord, maybe checking stuff up on like Commander's Toolbox or whatever site you use. You can go and do that from the second PC. That means it doesn't pull resources away from the PC that's actually running. So again, Commander TS Highland Ur. Thanks a lot for sending it in. I am so happy to see when people, they just make do with what they can get their hands on in order to go and enjoy some space games. And so yeah, thanks a lot for sending that in. And again, if you want your cockpit reviewed on one of these videos in the future, then downtoearthastronomy@gmail.com is where you send it. You can also send it to me on Discord if you prefer. Get it to me, and I might include it in a future video. That's been for this week. Thanks a lot for watching, and also next time, I will see you guys in space.